Listener discretion is advised.
Special.
Already.
Okay, well, you are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to get real Minnesotan up in this episode.
Oh, we got a real Midwestern episode for you.
Real dairy-centric.
Yeah.
I have taken my lactase.
Oh, lactase?
Lactaid?
Lactase.
Oh, it's
I've
a
never
knockoff.
heard of lactase.
Lactase is the enzyme.
Oh.
So Lactaid is just a
The
brand
brand.
name.
Got it.
Oh.
Wow.
You took the pure enzyme.
What a day of learning.
We'll be getting into enzymes in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, as you might have guessed, our topic this episode is a very special fan pick brought to you by Jenna Murdoch.
Oh, golly.
Murdoch's Mysteries,
Oh, Murdoch, she wrote.
who the note says here, Jenna likes Italian cheeses.
Oh, good.
Bless their heart.
So good job, Jenna.
Or knockoffs, which we'll get to.
Oh, we will get to a lot of different types of cheeses. Okay, Jenna has selected the topic of cheese crimes.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
And we did
Jesus,
do-
Mary and Joseph.
We did do dairy crimes
Mm-hmm.
for our Wisconsin live show back in
We
2019. But it wasn't cheese exclusive. And I
It was
really
not.
appreciated this chance to kind of revisit the topic.
Narrow the focus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I agree. All right. Well, Amanda, what is
who
our
are
one-
you?
Oh,
Do we already say
right.
it? Oh,
I don't know. I'm Kenyan. I'm wearing for our video Patreon folks, I am wearing a Lake Crescent t-shirt
Ooh.
because I went to Lake Crescent with my family.
What's that?
It is a beautiful lake and national park
Ooh.
in Washington State
That's
where
yes. Okay.
where Israel Keys dumped at least one body. And I
Oh.
learned that from Josh Hallmark's amazing show, True Crime
I was
Bullshit.
like, that sounds familiar. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
She was the creepiest because he like cut off some of her hair.
Ugh.
Remember? He killed her and then he did whatever and then he froze her and then he thawed her out with a hair dryer.
Sir.
I don't remember all the details. And I'm not like excited about Israel Keys,
No,
but
that
it's
was
an-
a very dynamic case of his, I think.
He is fascinating, and True Crime Bullshit's an amazing podcast.
Oh.
And so
Yes.
I went to Lake Crescent and I texted Josh, and then I got the t-shirt.
Wow.
Did you gather any evidence?
Were you
I-
ice fishing?
I did poke around by the shore, but I didn't find anything.
Didn't find anything. Okay. Well, your tracking skills aren't top notch, but anyway, who are you?
I'm Lucy. Whatever.
Okay. I'm Amanda. Off we go.
Okay.
I'm not
So
wearing
we-
anything special.
I'm wearing one of our Plan Ahead Salt Your Dad shirts.
Yeah. Cute
I'm
little
wearing a
braids.
shirt that I shouldn't have worn because it's hotter than fuck in here. Because I turned off my air prematurely.
Yeah.
Because it's fall. in
Every
the Midwest.
Midwesterner does that. And then it's like, surprise, it's 80 degrees in November.
It's real hot in here.
It's rough.
The amount of pit-stained first day of school sweaters.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you want to wear jeans. You
Yep.
want to
Yeah.
wear that cute V-neck sweater.
Yeah.
It's too early.
1,000%.
You
Yep.
can't
It's
do
too
it.
early.
Yep. Okay, sorry. Cheese crimes. Amanda, what's our wine crime pairing? I feel like cheese and wine go great together.
Well, yeah, they do. But it would be sacrilege if I didn't pair this very Wisconsin-heavy episode with a very Wisconsin-heavy selection like Leinenkugel Original Lager.
Dang it. I have some in my fridge and I opted for a watermelon White Claw.
That's also delicious.
Frick.
This is brewed in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. It's got a very cute can, which I'm
Little
showcasing.
Leinenkugels.
Yep, I'm showcasing to our viewers at home on Patreon. So cute.
Great for a float down the river.
It really is. It's a good Tubin beer. This says
You can just pee while you drink.
You can just
pretty
piss
much. Just pee in your
openly.
bathing suit.
It's like you're wearing a diaper that is Apple River.
No one's gonna know. How would they know? Since
They're not gonna know.
1867, 6 generations of the Leinenkugel family have brewed beer in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Also known as the Northwoods, it is here among the wooded hillsides, numerous lakes, and swift flowing rivers that our family found a special place to brew our authentic beers using the finest ingredients and time-honored traditions. The next time you are in our neck of the woods, come visit us at our brewery and Liney Lodge. XOXO, the Leinenkugel gals. It just says the Leinenkugel family. I ad-libbed that last little teeny part. I don't know if you noticed, but
Please tell me it says XO.
it doesn't. It doesn't. I wish.
XOXO, the Leinenkugel.
The Leinenkugel gals. This is it is the original, so it's not super light. You're gonna get like, a more of an amber kind of malty.
It's the liney heavy.
Yeah, but even at, that heavy, it's only 4.7% ABV. I don't have many nutrition facts here. We got 12 fluid ounces. We've got 154 calories. We got 14.9 grams of carbohydrates. This is 1 unit of insulin for old Mandy. No fat, and not a very good source of protein at 1.1 gram. But it is canned in union-made recyclable aluminum, which seems like very on brand for sort of like
Blue
salt of
collar,
the earth, blue collar
Iron
beer.
Range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love a union.
Love a good union.
Yeah. So Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. There's also a location in Milwaukee.
Smart.
I know that we up here have a lot of good IPAs. I also really like just our regular beers, like a good Nordies.
I'm fucking
a good
over it with
Lineys.
IPAs. IPAs are like the douche nation
super
fad
over
in the
it.
beer world.
Yeah.
Well, we had a lot of like brewery action in the last decade when it was super popular. But we got a lot of good classics.
We do. And
I
you
like
don't-
a grain belt.
Yeah.
A grain belt, a Northeast.
You
I'm not a
don't
beer
need-
person, but if I'm going to have like a beer with my dad,
Yeah.
that's what it's going to be.
You
A
don't
Bud
need
Heavy
to like
in a bottle.
ish.
Ish.
You
but
don't need
okay.
to blast out your palate with hops to like be cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't like hops that much.
No.
It's like, okay, great. So you like hops. That don't impress me much.
It's not a personality trait,
Yeah.
as Gen X
Okay, so
would
you're a
say,
rocket
or Gen Z,
scientist.
or whatever. One of the
Anyway,
gens.
shall we crack?
Yes.
Let's fucking do. We're already pretty cracked.
I know, completely cracked. Here we go.
Oh. Nice.
Oh.
Nice
crack.
crack.
Oh yeah, that smells like a summer barbecue.
Do you smell the Chippewa Falls?
The fast flowing pea
Oh
rivers
shit,
from
that's
Tubin.
tasty.
Oh, shit.
Oh crap. You know,
Oh, gosh,
it's,
crap.
It's not like I've never had it before, but there's some.
Sometimes
it's like
it hits
hitting
you right.
just right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
Oh shit, no.
Oh fuck no.
All right. Well,
Language.
Lucy, Lucy, what is
She
our
was the oldest living Lutheran. Now she's dead as a darnail.
All right, Lucy, what is our background and probably not psych for cheese crime?
Shake it. Yeah.
There's no psych. So cheese is a nutritious food consisting primarily of the curd, which is the semi-solid substance formed when milk coagulates or curdles. Cue Kenyan gagging at the memory of the parking lot of Wisconsin Dells.
Oh.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Where you barfed up all those cheese curds?
Oh, yes. yes.
I want to clarify something right out of the gate.
Yeah.
You said the parking lot of the Wisconsin Dells, but the Dells isn't like one facility with one parking lot.
It was in the Wisconsin Dells area in like some random parking lot, like of a fast food chain.
Like I barely understand the Dells, so I
It's a
genuinely
complex.
The Dells
It's like
are
Disney
like
World.
yeah, but there's like it's like isn't it just a fuck ton of like indoor water parks at like different hotels and stuff?
It's essentially a town. It's a metropolis.
Yeah.
Weird.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do not.
And I went there
Have
with
an interest.
Blatterly Blebs' family.
Got it. Blattily blebs.
She works for Iowa Public Radio now.
Oh,
Hi,
hey.
Blatterly.
And
I'll
And
gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger
and I
today.
never had garlic cheese curds before and was like,
Ooh.
these are amazing.
Your life changed.
And
that
then
day.
I really overdid it
Oh,
and
no.
had a rough night.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She was like 8.
Does Burger King have sesame seeds on their buns?
Yeah, I think
So
so.
then it was
yeah.
in the parking lot of a Burger King because then
So does
afterwards
McDonald's. McDonald's does too.
Ew.
there was something in my brain about sesame seed
You
buns.
saw the sesame seeds coming back up.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was rough.
That's true. A Big Mac has sesame seeds on the bun. I think.
And that was the last time that I ever went camping.
Oh, first and last.
Because
First and last.
because we went camping and I remember waking up and being like, it is fucking cold and everything is wet.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's a rough one.
that's
You had a
camping.
great time.
You had the perfect camping experience.
Mhm.
Okay. If you need to step away to vomit into a trash can, you just let me know.
I've done it while recording, so.
Yeah, you are a quiet barfer.
I'm very
Hats off
quiet.
to you.
Oh, thank you.
If I barf, it's like a 3-hour process.
A 3-hour tour.
Oh my God. Quick anecdote about barfing.
Oh
This
no.
happened today. Corey decided to make a food challenge at Lachelle's Fine Foods right
Okay.
here in Des Moines, Iowa. And so they invited one guy to test it out to see if it was like impossible or just difficult. And he definitely used the trash can that Corey positioned right next to the table.
like a food eating challenge, not a cooking challenge.
Oh no, eating.
How
much did he eat?
Dear.
It was 3 double burgers.
No,
1
no.
Lachelle's, 1 Denny, 1 the other name escapes me.
absolutely not.
A foot-long chili dog and a pound of French fries.
Holy fucking shit.
Who did they hire to test it?
It was like a friend of an employee. I don't remember, Lou something. And they were closed, so nobody was vomiting in the dining room during open hours.
This is why men can never be left alone with their ideas.
This is why he tells me these things after the fact, because I would have squashed that so quickly.
Immediately.
Anyway, now there's like a food consumption challenge at Lachelle's. So
Bull.
So did they not modify the limit?
and he ate it all. He ate it all and then vomited.
Yeah, but I feel like you're in like food eating competitions, you're disqualified if you vomit within like 30 minutes of finishing it.
Oh, I thought it was just while you were eating it.
I don't know.
He like ate it all, drank some water, and then was like, nope.
Wow, that
I
is
don't
a lot
know.
of
I
food.
think he needs to
But
come
he's
back
also
and do it
not-
again.
He's not a large guy and he's not a professional eater. So if that was his reaction, then that signals to
A
the group
normal. Mhm.
this is actually kind of a normal challenge. Anyway, just a
Wow.
quick little plug there.
Great.
Curdling happens when milk sours, forming an acid curd, which releases whey. So, like, when Little Miss Muppet ate her curds and whey, she was basically eating cottage cheese.
Okay.
Yep.
So whey is a watery fluid containing the soluble ingredients of the curdled milk.
Mhm.
You know,
And so-
I thought I was going to be okay
You're not.
for this episode, and
You're
I might not be.
I
No.
think this is the worst part, though, for you,
'Kay.
because I know how your brain works.
Yeah.
Go figure. So what's left after we drain out the whey is the semi-solid curd, aka the cheese.
Got it.
Natural cheese is made from 4 basic ingredients, including milk, salt, a quote-unquote good bacteria, and what's called rennet. Rennet is a set of enzymes produced in the stomachs. I read the specifically the 4th stomach of ruminant animals. And a ruminant animal is a hooved herbivorous grazing animal. So
How
let
did-
the dogs out?
who fucking figured this out?
Who
get to
named
it.
these
we'll
bovines?
fucking get to it, actually. So herbivorous hooved grazing animals include cows, sheep, goats, etc. The animals that we know that like milk comes from.
Yole, 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 ee-oo.
Mm-hmm. It's basically the stuff that curdles the milk. So rennet is integral in the curdling process.
Okay.
And another hooved herbivorous animal is like deer and also moose. We don't have deer or moose cheese, and I'm a little bit disappointed by that, but maybe someone will get on that.
Well, moose, I think it would be really tough to consistently get the rennet from moose because they're more rare and special.
They don't want to give it up.
So the rennet, the process of getting the rennet involves actually like harvesting the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So actually cheese made from actual rennet isn't technically vegetarian.
Because you have to kill the animal to make it.
Well, because it's made from part of the animal, not just the milk of the animal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does the
So-
can the animal survive that process or no?
The removal of its stomach? No.
Or, I didn't know if there's like a way to get stuff out of the stomach without.
to make
It's okay.
cheese,
And bathtubs apparently aren't made out of teeth.
They're not.
the way we make cheese. Well, let me just read this next sentence. Cheese makers nowadays often, I think, primarily use non-mammalian rennet because it's cheaper and much easier and humane to produce.
Well, and
So
more
some of-
sustainable if you have to like kill an animal every time you want to make X amount of cheese.
Right, and not a lot. There's not a lot of usable rennet in a given calf's stomach. For
They
example,
ran out.
They ran out of it.
Oh, dear God.
So the sources.
Rennet and weep.
Okay.
Do you read Reddit?
The front page of rennet.
Made it. Having
The
a
sources.
vote.
The sources for those vegetarian substitutes range from so you can easily mimic the mammalian enzymes that come from rennet to sort of be produced from anything from plants to fungi to like microbial. So we have a lot of substitutes. So when we think of like Kraft cheese, they're not using mammalian rennet. But as far as like how how cheese making started,
That's what it was.
It was with the stomachs of animals, and we'll get to it because I think it's really fucking interesting.
Yeah, crazy. Okay.
So cheeses come in 8 varieties, including blue, hard, processed, semi-hard, semi-soft, soft and fresh, which is its own category, soft ripened, and what's called pasta filata. So pasta filata is Italian for spun paste, is a technique in the manufacture of a family of Italian cheeses, also known in English as stretched curd, pulled curd, and plastic curd cheeses. So these stretched curd cheeses manufactured from the pasta filata technique undergo a plasticizing and kneading treatment of the fresh curd in hot water, which gives the cheese its fibrous structure. So an example of pasta filata is mozzarella.
Yeah, or
'Cause
like
it's like
burrata.
stringy.
Yum.
Yeah,
That's
burrata.
cool.
I love
Yeah, I'm
I love
assuming that's
burrata.
the process that like string cheese undergoes. Because I think string cheese is like
It's usually mozzarella.
okay, well yeah. So then it's that fibrous like when you think of string cheese. That's pasta
cool.
filata.
I like
Wow.
that.
Yeah. So one may ask, how long does it take to make cheese? According to joyofcheesemaking.com,
Joy of chooking.
what's chooking?
Cheese cooking.
Oh, chooking. Got it. Joyofchecks.com. It can take anywhere from 1 to 8 hours, obviously, after the milk is curdled. And this is just for the preparation process. So if one is making fresh cheese, for example, cream cheese, chev, paneer, ricotta, or mozzarella,
I love paneer.
All
It-
good.
it will be ready to eat as soon as it's as it's done, as soon as this preparation process is over with.
It doesn't need to age.
Got it.
Yeah, so aged cheeses such as cheddar, Swiss, Parmesan, Monterey Jack, Camembert, Brie, or blue cheese can take up to a full year to complete the aging process.
Dang.
They're like
It's a
fine
long
wines.
time. Yeah.
According to thecheesemaker.com, I got to look at so many bizarre websites, and they were they were all like blogs of like just people who really enjoyed cheese making.
I love an
lot
enthusiastic
to
cheese
learn.
blog.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so according to cheesemaker.com, quote, while there's no one type of cheese that is most difficult to make, the hardest cheeses to make are Romano, Gorgonzola, Burrata, Parmesan, and Provolone. And
Some of those are some of the most popular ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who knew?
so be grateful.
Never.
The reason being is because they require a longer aging period to ensure that they reach their desired texture, and they also require a specific type of culture.
It also takes a while to chop up all the wood chips for the Parmesan.
I
We'll
think we're going to
get
get
to
to it.
all the wood pulp.
So these cheeses also have a unique smell and consistency to them, which makes it even more difficult to make at home since the process to make them is quite strenuous.
Mm-hmm.
If you're feeling adventurous and looking for a challenge, you can certainly give these cheeses a try to make your cheese-making experience even more daring.
I know we all wanted to get into weird hobbies during COVID, but like cheese making is like a step too far.
Well, cheese making,
Sourdough was a step too far for me.
yeah, I never did the sourdough, but the cheese part, it's like, if you fuck it up, it's going to be real gross or
and
like
you've done
deadly.
so much work at
Yeah.
that point that like
I don't know. I feel like if you start with a really simple cheese. Well, here, let's get to it in my next sentence.
Ugh.
If you're looking to start making your own cheese, start with ones with very simple ingredients. So, like the simplest cheeses only have like 3 ingredients. So, these might be cream cheese, actually really easy to make, apparently, or farmer's cheese, which sort of has like the texture of feta. It's like a super mild feta. Intermediate cheeses could be Gouda, goat cheese, or actual feta. And like I said earlier, these more difficult cheeses would be the aged stuff like Gorgonzola and Swiss, but also surprisingly cheese curds
are more difficult
evidently kind of hard to make at home. So yeah, I think you could start really, really simple. And if you were content with like kind of a shitty farmer's cheese
cheesy spread.
to just put on a cracker or like over a salad, sure. But if you want
leave
like
it to the professionals.
if you want a cheese that has like really good complex flavor and like a good consistency, I would just go fucking buy it from someone who knows what the fuck they're doing.
sure.
Okay, so here's the interesting part. Cheese making predates recorded history.
Fucking what?
Yeah. So it turns out cheese making goes back well over 7,000 years.
Damn. That's old.
Insane.
That's really old. Historians think that humans started making cheese by accident when they stored and transported their milk in pouches made from ruminant animals' stomachs.
That's fucking
Oh!
always how stuff works. Is
So
like
it's like the chocolate chip
Oops.
cookie accident or
Yeah.
the penicillin accident.
or the donut or the microwave.
bread,
Wow.
beer, all the
Accident.
things. Yeah.
They
Learning
were
about
just-
yeast.
They were just trying to transport their milk. And so
In
then they had a whole
stomachs.
pouch full of like condensed milk with this rennet. It was
Lisa
I just think
Rinna.
that's so fucking cool.
That's
wow,
very
that's
cool.
blowing my mind right now and also makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
Total sense. Yeah.
Wow. And
So-
also all I'm picturing is like the Franzia wine bags.
Ish.
But
Yeah,
full of like
slapping
milk.
curds.
Slap it.
Slap
Yeah.
the milk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slapping that rennet.
Ugh.
So we kind of have an idea of how it started, but we don't know exactly where it originated. It could have been Europe, Central Asia, the Middle East, so-called, or the Sahara. The reason we think that it dates back to at least 5,000 BCE is because clay sieves have been discovered in Poland, Switzerland, and Croatia. And when scientists did like a chemical analysis on the sieves, they found dried remains that these analyses suggested was cheese.
Oh, wow.
So that would be just to drain out like the whey, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. The curds and the
And
whey.
The curds and the whey, Little Miss
Dang.
Muppet.
It all circles back.
It all
Wow.
curdles back.
Isn't that fucking cool?
I
That's
mean,
wild.
transporting milk like across the desert,
We'll
Wouldn't
get
be
to it.
easy.
that
Yeah.
would make sense to me to do that in some
We'll
fucking
get to more
animal
of this
stomachs.
because I was so fucking interested in this. According to Pliny the Elder, classic Pliny, ancient Greeks and Romans,
Name your kids Pliny,
Pliny the
and
Elder.
Elder.
only the oldest one is Pliny.
This is
So be
Pliny,
Pliny
my
the-
elder.
And this is Elder, my Pliny.
I only go for two Pliny.
This is Pliny, my elder, and this is Damien Fay.
Yes. According to Pliny, my oldest, ancient Greeks and Romans valued cheese and had actually turned cheese making or cheesemongering into a sophisticated enterprise.
Yeah.
The Bible itself refers to cheese of the herd being given to King David. So like they gifted King David like their best cheeses.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it was a luxury item. It takes a lot of effort and knowledge to make.
Often methods for cheese making were kept secret. So like we'll kind of get into like the regions, the terroir of cheeses.
Secret cheeses.
But like if you think of like paneer to like Roquefort blue cheese to like all these different cheeses all over these different regions, they're all dramatically different.
Right. Which obviously has to do with like the animals in those areas
The
as
animals
well as
eating,
the cultural
the
cooking styles
climate,
and the climate.
All of this stuff, which we'll kind of touch on too.
Cool.
It was also rumored that among the conquistadors of the Americas that the Inca and other Andean cultures made llama cheese. But there's no actual evidence of this. It's just sort of historical rumor.
Are there camel cheeses? Because there's camel milk.
Not that I came across in my research,
Gonna
but
Google it.
maybe.
Give it a goop.
Camel cheese?
Question.
Don't say what other kinds of well, okay, since we're talking about it. Different varieties of cheeses around the world are made from the milk of cows, goats, sheep, water buffalo, horses, llamas, and yaks.
Wow.
Okay.
Nothing about camels.
Traditionally, camel milk is not made into cheese. But
It's
the
not
content
edible.
But the content of no, it is. The content
sure.
of camel milk is similar to cow milk in terms of lactose and blah blah blah. And tons of cultures drink camel milk, but apparently it's not traditionally made into cheese.
Dang.
But in the early 1990s, somebody created a camel cheese called Caravan, and the nickname is Camel Bear.
Oh, that's cute. That
That's
is cute. I like that.
So it can happen. It's just not traditionally.
Well,
a
that
thing.
seems like whoever invented that was a total Kenyan because you think of the joke, you think of the pun,
And then you make it
you
fit.
flesh it out.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Make
mean,
it
that's
fit.
what the
That's totally-
Emporium is all about.
That is.
totally
That
what
is
you
the
did.
backbone of the Emporium.
It's the cornerstone of Kenyans'
Very existence.
It's the history of this
wedding,
podcast.
wedding and
1,000%.
family reunion hashtag and t-shirt emporium.
Hey, there's some like strong manifestation that comes along with working backwards from your end goal.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, of course.
I'm here for it.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
So the earliest written evidence of cheese is in the Sumerian texts of the 3rd dynasty of dated at the early 2nd millennium BC.
Holy fucking shit.
That's a
is
little bit
long time ago.
It's a really long time ago. The earliest cheeses were sour and salty and similar in texture to rustic cottage cheese or present-day feta. So very crumbly.
Mm-hmm.
Hard salted cheese is likely to have accompanied dairying from the outset. So like having cows for dairy
Sure.
purposes.
Yeah.
It is the only form in which milk can be kept in a hot climate. So dairying existed around 4000 BC in the grasslands of the Sahara. So that's kind of why they think that cheese making actually originated there, because they were already producing milk, dairy milk, and then trying to store
Somehow
it,
preserve it.
travel with it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The
Makes
balls on these folks for just being like, yeah, I'll eat that. I'm going to give that a try.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Because this isn't like so many other things you find in nature where it's like, oh, I'm watching another mammalian animal eat that egg or
yeah, it must be
eat
safe.
that plant. Yeah, this is like guess
It's-
and check.
It's a byproduct of essentially waste
Uh-huh.
that is then old.
Uh-huh. Aged.
Yeah.
Yeah, olded.
A thing that
Olded.
doesn't age well.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah. And it stinks.
Right. Like everything, all of our instincts should be triggered not to go there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe when like these first people had their little stomach pouches and they're traveling a long distance, and then they're like,
Maybe they didn't have a
our,
choice.
Yeah.
our only food is what's in this pouch. Oh shit, it's curdled. We don't have another option.
Let's
and they
give
ate
it a
it. They're like,
try.
that's not bad. Could use
Yeah.
a little salt.
Yeah,
I
not
mean,
so
what
bad.
is the fucking the phrase is like from necessity or comes invention or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Desperation.
I mean, whatever happened a long ass time ago. So we've had a lot of time to perfect this craft,
well, and I'm happy about it because cheese is fucking amazing.
right?
It's amazing.
So cheese produced in Europe, where climates are cooler than in the Middle East, as we sort of touched on, required less salt for preservation. With less salt and acidity, the cheese became a suitable environment for useful microbes and molds, giving aged cheeses from this region their pronounced and interesting flavors.
Yeah, the fact that people ate blue cheese
It's all mind blowing to me.
is
all
pretty
of it.
fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I still am not a big blue cheese fan.
Oh, I love that.
I really like it. Maybe not on its own, maybe not like spread on a cracker, but like in
It depends.
specific. Yeah.
There's
I don't
this
like a blue
really,
cheese. I don't like a dressing.
I love it. There's a really good blue cheese that used to be on the charcuterie plate at the Harriet Brasserie. That's like, it has like a charred, like grapevine through the center of it.
That's cool.
It's so fucking good. Like it's over the top luxury cheese.
I'll eat a fancy cheese that looks like a bar of fancy soap.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It does. It looks like it totally looks like a marbled bar of fancy soap.
Yeah.
But it tastes
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
bang.
cool.
Would Blortney's mom accidentally eat it at a baby shower thinking it was cheese, but
That
actually
is-
it's soap?
the best thing in the world. And yeah, probably.
She thought it
one of
was
my
white
favorite
chocolate
moments.
and it was totally soap.
The girl ate soap. Mrs. Blortney ate soap.
Mrs. Blortney ate soap.
that?
That was at
It was at my bridal shower at Jody's house.
Yep.
We were
Floaties.
we had you on an iPad. We were FaceTiming you and just passing you around on this iPad.
And then Courtney, Blortney's mom, all of a sudden was just like beet red, and she and Blortney were dying laughing in the
She
kitchen,
I
like
saw the
on
whole
the floor.
I watched the whole thing.
we
First
were
of
like,
all,
"What is going on?"
Jody had a little dish in the kitchen, no
it
less,
looked-
of little heart-shaped,
Why'd you have it in the
cream-colored.
kitchen?
I think
I
they
don't
were near
know.
the sink to actually wash like that.
They weren't.
I know we're giving.
They were across from the sink. Like I said, I watched the whole
I
fucking
know we're
thing go
giving
down.
Mrs. Blortney a lot of credit, but like just slowing down, you would have figured out it was soap.
Giving it a sniff,
Yeah.
but she just popped one in her mouth,
Yep.
and then her eyes kind of got big, and she tried to be real cash about it. She just went right over to the sink and just spit it into the sink
It was so fucking
and kind of
funny.
wiped her mouth. And I watched, and Courtney just goes, or Blortney was like, "Did you just eat soap?" That's what I
Sure did.
fucking died.
Goddamn sure did.
Just popped the whole tiny little heart shaped. Looked like a little heart of white chocolate. It really did.
So cute.
Oh, that's perfect.
Anyway,
love
so
that.
be careful of the level of attractiveness and the shape that you cut your cheese into.
for
'cause-
sure.
Or your soap for that matter, I guess. So today, over 1,000 types of cheese exist and are currently produced in various countries.
Ooh.
Their styles, textures, and flavors depend on the origin of the milk, including the animal's diet,
Makes sense.
whether they've been pasteurized,
Got it.
the butter fat content, the bacteria and the mold, the processing, and how long they've been aged.
Ah.
We can
okay.
also factor in then herbs, spices, or wood smoke that may be used as flavoring agents.
Got
That
it.
sounds good.
Cheeses that have like a yellow to a red color may be produced by adding what's called annatto, which is used as a food coloring and also as a condiment
Oh.
in like Mexico and Central America.
Yum.
Cool.
And the flavor is sort of like peppery with like a whisper of nutmeg.
Love it.
Mm.
So other ingredients that may be added to some cheeses include black pepper, garlic, chives, or cranberries.
Mm.
Oh, yummy. I have a
Mhm.
question about the rinds and
Mhm.
stuff.
I may not have an answer for you.
Yes, you could eat them.
But like,
You
what
can
are
eat them, but
they-
it's like wax.
It depends. Some are like wax. Some are
yeah,
made from
some are fucking applied to the cheese's
right.
wax.
But like the quote unquote rind on a brie,
Mm-hmm.
that's not wax, and that's
Right.
completely edible.
Right.
Rind. What?
So sometimes they occur naturally, and sometimes they're packaging.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, so on a brie specifically, the rind is a white mold called Penicillium candidum,
I can't
Which
believe
cheese-
I'm not allergic to that.
which cheesemakers inoculate the cheese with.
Mm-hmm.
This edible mold blooms on the outside of the paste and is then patted down over and over again to form the rind. This
Yum.
process gives brie its distinctive taste.
Okay.
It's like a naturally occurring
Mold.
shell.
Yeah, and then I would
Mhm.
imagine when a process like that can't occur, like on harder cheeses,
Then
there's
it's the
probably a wax or a wax-like edible rind that's like made for that cheese.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It
Okay.
just seals it all in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think especially with aged cheeses, you have to have that seal to like,
Keep it
Mm-hmm.
edible.
keep it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Cheese making has been of primary economic importance for hundreds of years in the Netherlands, France, Italy, and Switzerland. Certain cheeses are historically associated with particular areas. So, like I said, the terroir.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping quality is enhanced by a variety of procedures, including heating and kneading, as in the case of Italian provolone,
Mm-hmm.
and soaking in brine, as in the case of Egyptian domiati.
Mm.
Cool.
The loosely knit structure of French Roquefort cheese develops blue mold only in a cool, wet atmosphere, such as occurs naturally in the caves of Roquefort in France.
Interesting. It's
true
like
Roquefort-
champagne.
It's exactly like champagne. True Roquefort cheese is aged in these specific caves.
Cool.
And I will say a Roquefort pear salad is
Oh.
also a fucking amazing way to enjoy a blue cheese.
Mhm.
That is, yeah. Blue cheese with pear does work exceptionally well together.
Mhm.
It really
But if-
does.
But usually, if I have a choice of cheeses, I'm not going to choose the blue cheese.
Mhm.
If you got a choice, but like I said, it really does because then you have like the candied like walnuts in that salad too.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. Like a blue with like grapes or some sort of citrus, like a mild citrus,
Yeah, like
such
a-
as a pear.
Like a wet, sweet fruit.
yes,
Mhm.
a wet sweet stone fruit. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm fucking starving, and that's my
Yeah.
segment.
Amazing.
Well done.
Thanks.
Literally foaming at the mouth right now.
I know. Gonna need some cheeses. Are we ready for my case?
No.
Never.
So, according to a report by UW Madison,
Oh my
Nice.
gosh, we're both going to Wisconsin this time.
Wisconsin's dairy industry generates $45.6 billion per year.
Damn.
The majority of which comes from sales of the state's infamous cheese. And yes, I
infamous.
chose infamous on purpose.
They have
love
fabulous curds, though,
Oh, yeah.
on to Kenyon's
Oh, yeah.
detriment.
Yeah, too good. The report also states that Wisconsin, quote, Wisconsin crafts more varieties, types, and styles of cheese than anywhere else on earth and holds a 48% share of the nation's specialty cheese category.
Yep, I believe it.
Half of our cheese comes from Wisconsin.
I fully believe this.
That's insane.
I vividly remember the similar stats for our Milwaukee live show, and it blows the mind every time.
48% of
It's-
that's
it's too
insane.
intense. It's so intense. I can't.
And in 2016, some local criminals decided that they wanted a piece of this massive pie,
Oh,
or more
break.
accurately, wheel.
Wait. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat wheel.
Yum.
In early January of that year, a transport trailer packed with 90,000 pounds of Parmesan. My
dream.
suitcase.
Yeah.
The limit is 50 pounds on most Delta flights.
The limit does not exist.
They're like, your luggage is 400 times the limit.
And
I'm a platinum medallion member.
yeah,
So-
let me through.
Do I need to flash my Delta Amex at you again?
They sent me bag tags in the mail. So.
Oh. Lock.
Okay, so a transport trailer packed
Weird
with
flex.
90,000 pounds of Parmesan was stolen from outside a store in Marshfield, Wisconsin, which I think we mentioned Marshfield, Wisconsin in the gag episode that we recorded earlier
I think
today.
we did.
Yeah,
I think we did too.
it was the cow.
It was.
And no more, because this comes out before that.
Got it.
Oh my God.
Zipping. Ow, I just flicked myself in the face.
It's because you can't feel your lip.
Yeah, you didn't
I
fucking feel it
literally
anyway.
can't feel my lip. It's a long story.
Okay, so then only a week later, the cheese bandits struck again, this time taking a trailer that contained 70,000 pounds of more vaguely described assorted cheeses from outside a
Scrap.
warehouse in Germantown, Wisconsin,
Got it.
which I'm pretty sure is every town, Wisconsin.
It's up there.
And what's more, the dairy villains seemed to know what they were doing. They'd stalked their prey carefully, waiting until the trailers were left parked overnight before hitching them up to a truck in the wee hours of the morning and driving away with their stolen cargo.
Ooh.
So they didn't empty out. They literally just hooked up the whole fucking thing and drove
And took
away.
off. Dang.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely respect it.
In the case of the Germantown theft, police found the trailer that had contained the cheese later that same morning, but unfortunately it was now empty and abandoned, and nary a cheese morsel in sight.
Oh, cheese.
Nary a curd in sight.
Mm-hmm. But by using a GPS tracking device that had been on the trailer, authorities were able to recover the cheese itself from a deli case of a grocery store in a, quote, not so nice part of town.
So did they sell it or were they storing it there?
They sold it to a grocery store.
Okay, how do you just walk into a grocery store with a fuck ton of cheese and go, huh?
If you've got a good deal,
Well, so we will get to it.
yeah.
This is
If
ballsy
the price
and I
is
love it.
right.
It took longer to track down the precious Parmesan stolen from Marshfield, but it too eventually turned up about 2 weeks later. It had been abandoned at a storage facility near Appleton, Wisconsin.
Oh my God. Oh, of course.
Love Appleton.
Near a lazy river.
Mm-hmm.
The masterminds behind the cheese heist, however, remained menacingly at large.
Oh, no.
Then
the state was on edge.
Then on June 30th, 2016, the outlaws struck again.
You could have cut the tension with a cheese knife.
I'm crumbling from the tension. That night, the driver of a semi-trailer filled with a shipment of delicious bacteria-ridden milk lumps was looking for a place to briefly leave his cargo while he took his truck to get serviced. He settled on a seemingly well-secured storage facility near Interstate 94, which was
heard of it.
which was equipped with video surveillance and a chain link fence. So he thought that he was
Hey, now.
securing this cargo
Hey, now.
well. Hey, no. And thus, he unhitched his trailer and drove off to have the necessary truck repairs seen to. But when the driver returned a few hours later around 2 a.m, he couldn't believe his eyes.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, my God.
It's unbelievable. The
He should have known, Cheddar.
Oh. I like that.
The trailer was nowhere to be found. Thieves had made off with $46,000 worth of stolen cheese. That's a lot of cheddar.
That's a lot of cheddar.
Got it. I got there.
And unlike the previous heists, authorities were never able to recover this particular lactose bounty.
That's too bad.
When word
To
got
be
out,
continued.
Nice. You normally don't participate, but
Had
when you
to.
do, it's a banger.
Good stuff. I got a couple.
normally she camembert the puns.
I got a couple mozzarella sticks up my sleeve.
We're breaking Lucy. She's breaking.
Swiss okay. I'll be fine.
I'll breathe fine.
I'm sorry to be shivering these puns down your throat.
Try to be brief.
I gotta go. I'm too hot. I'm overheating.
Why
I'm
do
laughing
people
until I'm
listen
blue
to
in the
this
face.
show? Yeah. Why? Why do you listen to this?
Okay, so when word got out about the
You're
theft,
roking my world.
Oh,
Let's
My
finish
mouth
this
was-
episode so I can go unrind.
the whole one.
she's
Oh
too
my
good.
God. Okay.
She's too good. Okay. Okay, so when word got out about the theft and that this was not an isolated incident, it inspired national headlines such as "Thieves make off with $46,000 worth of cheese in Wisconsin heist." That's a fact.
Boring.
It's pretty straightforward.
People can't stop stealing thousands of pounds of cheese.
No.
They
Could
can't
you?
stop.
And what went wrong in Wisconsin's biggest cheese heist?
Don't tell mom
A
the
man named-
babysitter's dead.
A man named Tyson Vermeister,
Chicken nugget.
co-owner of a business called Mars Cheese Castle,
Oh, yeah.
commented on the thefts in local TV interviews. Mars Cheese Castle itself was not a victim of any of the thefts.
Thank God.
But Fairmeister, and you ricotta make this shit up, took it upon himself.
I love how you built in your cheese puns to your nose.
Some of them, they were too good. I was falling asleep last night. They were too good.
Too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
It took it upon himself to speak on behalf of the industry in general, stating, quote, "I know a lot of cheesemakers that if they took that kind of hit, they'd be out of business." Before adding, mournfully, "A cheese like that, not available for use, it saddens me."
Oh, my God. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Use. The real victim here is all the folks that couldn't eat all that cheese.
Yeah. Accurate.
Oh my God. And although much of the news coverage of the crimes was somewhat tongue-in-cheek,
Oh. When we tell you these are written in,
some are
a
off the
lot
cuff.
of them are. A lot of them are written in.
I was trying to fall asleep last night and they just kept coming to me.
You had to write them down. I had to write them down.
These attacks were likely carried out by a fairly organized team and serious money was at stake. Marshfield Police Lieutenant Darren Larson
Too close for comfort.
stated
Whoa, not all Darrens.
Yeah.
stated in an interview that, quote, "It's an organized type of crime. It's certainly very plausible because of the sophisticated nature of these crimes that you'd need knowledge of the freight shipping business."
Oh,
It's
it's
true.
an
He's not
inside
wrong.
jab.
Mm-hmm.
J.J. Coughlin, author of a 2012 book titled Cargo Crime, Security and Theft Prevention. It's a page-turner.
Yeah, that sounds riveting.
Also weighed in on the case in interviews.
It's a page turner.
Can't you tell? It's a
Can't
page
put
turner.
it down.
According to Coughlin, the way these crimes usually work is that thieves have already lined up a buyer before they take the risk of stealing something as unwieldy and conspicuous as a semi-trailer stocked with thousands of pounds of perishable merchandise.
Unwieldy.
He goes
Unwieldy. She got it.
He goes on to say that, quote, "You are dealing with people who are organized and true criminals. It's not mafia like you think, but it's very organized. It can be a ring, or it can be
Or a
one person,
wheel.
Or a wheel.
or it can be one person, but it's usually a ring of 2 or 3 people." Coughlin also notes that, quote, "Food products are a bigger target than most people think. Food gets stolen all the time."
Oh, yeah.
Well, the maple syrup heist.
Well, and the the lime shortages out of Mexico because cartels were stealing lime trucks
Avocados.
and avocados, but it was
Yeah.
also with limes to transport drugs.
Were they carving out, like, inside the
No, but they were
just the boxes?
yeah, in the bottoms of the boxes, and then like the top layer would be the whatever the produce was.
Mm-hmm.
And like because limes and avocados I think have like a specific like predictable weight,
Yeah.
that was like those were produce of choice.
Wow, weird.
It was so
Is that
weird.
why
And the-
limes were so expensive for a while?
Yes, limes and avocados had a massive shortage in the United States, and then the prices were like fucking crazy.
In like 2018 or something. That was wild.
It
I
was
didn't know
really
that.
weird. Yeah, I was still working for Harriet Brasserie, and Fernando was like, "Yep, we can't get limes because of the cartel. We can't afford them. Lemons, it is."
There wasn't even a global pandemic.
And lemons do not substitute for limes. They're
Not even
completely
close.
different
No.
flavors.
They are, but he
Completely.
would just change the recipes
Yeah.
to
No, I know. I'm
make
not,
it work. But
no shade to Fernando.
No, of
he
course
is a
not.
genius. I
but
just
like
meant in
it's
general.
fucking annoying when you are like a chef and your livelihood depends on these fucking specific ingredients.
Key lemon pie.
But
I
it
was just gonna
doesn't hit the same.
No such thing as a key
Does
lemon pie.
Not hit the same.
Okay, so However, in the case of cheese, lining up a buyer and unloading the stolen product would be especially difficult because usually when food cargo is stolen, the intended buyers would be a small grocery store or like local restaurants.
This is where I'm curious.
Who are looking to save a bit of money by buying meat, produce, etc. at a slightly cheaper price than regular vendors are willing to sell it for. These buyers may not realize the product is stolen, but they're also likely
not going to ask questions.
Yeah, to turn a blind eye and not ask many questions about it if they can score a good deal.
You make
you're
jokes
buying a lot.
Yeah, you make jokes all the time and I'm sure Corey knows all about this when you're
Off the
dealing
back
with
of the truck.
with food reps when they have something on sale. The like go-to joke is just fell off the back of the truck.
Yep.
Well, actually, sometimes things just are on sale, but like that joke exists for a reason.
Well, also when you're if you're buying for any restaurant, let alone a chain or a suite of restaurants, you want to you're counting the pennies.
Oh yeah.
So if you can find something cheap, you're gonna be interested in it.
But it would be quite difficult to unload cheese in this way. In recent decades, federal regulations on cheese production and sales have become increasingly strict. Packaged cheese is now required to be barcoded in order to provide a traceable trail of where it has been at each stage of processing and when.
Dang.
All cheese now?
Apparently, all cheese has to have a barcode. now.
Well, my case might explain some of why that is.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get as far as a barcode, but we might get to some of that.
This information is kept on record by the FDA, USDA, and the Department of Agriculture, the FFA, and active in the 4-H club.
The 4-H.
According to Coughlin, it is, quote, inconceivable that any reputable grocery store would purchase cheese from a vendor they didn't know, but it definitely happens. And it seems likely that the Wisconsin cheese thieves soon came to this same conclusion. The small amount of cheese that they did successfully sell to the grocery store, they sold for only $1 a pound.
Oh.
Nice.
And
according bad for them, but
Lucy, nice.
that is a bargain.
Score.
And according to one disgusted source, quote, no self-respecting Wisconsin retailer would expect to pay so little.
Right. You got to know you're not going to, you're either getting a stolen or terrible quality product.
Right.
At that price.
There might have been some
samples.
There could also be like a store manager who's cooking the books or, whatever. Like maybe this grocery store chain thinks it's paying a much higher price.
It might go deep.
And some of that money in the middle just disappears.
This goes deep.
Well, I could see them all. I mean, they usually get like samples. So if they're like, hey, can I try that cheese that you're selling for this obscenely low price and it's good cheese?
You're going to be
no one's going to know except for like the buyer for that one store.
According to the owner of Mars Cheese Castle, quote, if they were going to steal it and take it to someplace, they should have brought it to Chicago, to Little Italy, and they could have had a much easier way to sell it there because, hey, it's Parm. Forget about it. End quote.
What a good quote.
That's an excellent quote.
Hey, it's Parm. Forget about it.
Forget about it. One word.
The most like Wisconsin because hey, it's Parm. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
More likely, however, due largely to how carefully cheese processing and sales are regulated, the thieves never even found buyers for most of their wares.
Oh.
And again, because of the stricter regulations, their crimes were also more serious. The federal government's involvement in cheese production means that the bandits inadvertently committed federal crimes, even if they didn't cross any state lines with their pilfered merchandise.
Pilfed.
Didn't do their homework.
However, the Wisconsin criminals were not the first to take such risks in order to hijack high cholesterol goods. Thefts of large shipments of cheese have been reported across the U.S., and several high-profile heists have taken place in European cheese capitals as well.
Oh.
In 2015, $43,000 worth of Comté, a French cheese made from unpasteurized cow's milk, very delicious, went missing from the cheese-making region of Goût-les-Usiers. Around the same time, a whopping $875,000 worth Almost $1 million fucking dollars
That's
worth
a lot of fucking cheddar.
of Parmigiano Reggiano, a cheese so valuable that some Italian banks will even accept wheels of it as loan collateral.
I need to move to Italy.
I know, went missing in Italy. Italy is a bonkers place.
I
Italy is
need
bonks.
it. I need it.
You could literally buy a house with
cheese.
Yeah. Although in this second case, the cheese had actually gone missing over the course of 2 years before the thefts were even discovered, probably because it was being aged.
Oh, yeah. Slowly skim it
Wow.
off the tap.
Mm-hmm. Skim it off the top.
Get
I see what you did there.
You really have a way with words.
That was good. Once you just give into it, you know, I tried to resist all of your fucking puns for so long. And I'm all in
fun.
now. I'm all in.
So the criminals in this massive Parm heist were thankfully tracked down and arrested later that year, the Italian ones. But the Wisconsin cheese hijackers remain at large.
Oh,
And at this point, it seems unlikely they will ever be found.
Dang.
It was me.
A Marshfield police spokesperson stated in 2016 that, quote, there were leads available and we followed up on a possible suspect. Unfortunately, it did not turn out. Right now, we don't have a specific suspect in mind.
wow.
And according
they got
to
away with They got away with it.
Away with it. Wow.
According to J.J. Coughlin, food gets stolen all the time. They're probably not going to get caught if they have not been busted by now. However, he went on to say, quote, people talk. The more people involved, the more of an opportunity for information slipping out.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps investigators will be able to poke holes in their stories and alibis, like some Swiss
I was
cheese.
going to say, like a good Swiss.
And that is my case.
Wow.
Bravo.
Wow.
That was good. It was cheesy, but it was good.
It was cheesy.
That was
Gouda.
phenomenal.
It was very good.
Fromageable. Are you ready for my case?
I don't know.
Fromage case.
Fromage.
Fromage case.
Where have you been all our lives?
I don't know.
I'm so glad you finally caved.
I'm here.
You have finally Roquefort caved.
I finally broke the cave.
I'm so glad you're following our mold.
I am. Following in your wheel steps. This
These
Never
puns are in our
mind
Never mind how annoying we are.
These puns are in our wheelhouse.
Mhm. There aren't like any puns in my case, but there's
We'll
some fun
make 'em.
stuff. Yeah, you'll
We'll
make
make them.
Oh,
And
don't
I just
worry.
gotta say, this episode is like a balm for my soul after all the murder that we've been chatting about lately. So good job, fan picker.
Yes.
And while I would love to say that my eyes have been opened about cheap Parmesan, they haven't, and nothing will break that bond.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Delicious, delicious wood salt flakes.
It's
Uh-huh.
so good.
So today I'm going to be talking about an epic cheese scandal that took place in 2016, which was a hell of a year.
Yeah.
So of course,
Same year.
Yeah. Of course, this didn't make huge headlines, and I feel like this broke under the shroud of the election, which is exactly what Erica Girardi tried to do last year with announcing her divorce.
It worked for a minute.
It worked for 0 minutes.
and then Bravo caught the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. Also, I screamed because one of the articles I used for my case today opened with, quote, "Et241."
No.
And now I want that merch.
No.
Yellow fanny packs, let's go.
No.
They sold so well the first time.
The answer is no.
From the top. But this time it's not a banana, it's cheese. Keep up. So this all started in 2012 when the FDA received an anonymous tip about a cheese factory in, you guessed it, Wisconsin. The factory processed cheese for Castle Cheese Incorporated, not the Cheese Castle, a now defunct, a different castle for cheese.
You guys did almost the same thing.
It's not the same. It's not the same. I looked.
It's real sim.
It takes place in Wisconsin, but it's not the
In
same
2016,
Right.
and there's
Cheese
castle
castle.
cheese. 3 similarities, and you are not one paragraph in.
case. That's where all the similarities are. Now they'll end.
Okay.
So Castle Cheese Incorporated is a now defunct, but at one time large manufacturing operation with headquarters in Canada and sales averaging over $8 million per year. So it's not like craft level business, but they certainly aren't hurting for money.
No.
Hurdling for
Wrong
money.
business.
They made
We gotta get in the
product.
cheese game.
I know we do have to get in the cheese game. Get some skin in the cheese game. Don't put skin in my cheese.
Ew.
They
God.
made products that would go out under different company labels to grocery stores all over the U.S. and like big grocery stores, and then the labels would often be like their store brand.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the Target like Up and Up cheese or whatever was
Yeah.
likely made or processed in one of these Castle Cheese Incorporated processing facilities.
Got it.
So the anonymous tip alluded to the fact that their product, which boasted 100% cheese purity, was far from pure. Turns out the tipper had
Had skin
recently...
in it.
It may have had skin in it. Turns out the tipper had recently been fired from this very facility and had insider knowledge of the recipes being used for like making the cheese.
Whistleblower.
Fucking whistleblower. Topical. On this accusation, the FDA paid their Wisconsin production facility a surprise visit in November of 2012. This is from Bloomberg News. Quote, they found what they were looking for. Evidence that Castle Cheese Inc. was doctoring its 100% real Parmesan with cut-rate substitutes such fillers as wood pulp and distributing it to some of the country's biggest grocery chains. One might be tempted to think of this as a ripped from the headlines episode of NYPD Blue, as in blue cheese.
Blah.
Blue.
NYPD blah.
Blue. Except that the FDA wasn't playing. Some graded Parmesan suppliers have been mislabeling products by filling them with too much cellulose, a common anti-clumping agent made from wood pulp, or using cheaper cheddar instead of real Romano.
I mean, it
Someone-
makes sense. Apparently, real Parmesan
It's very
It's very
expensive.
expensive.
I had no idea it was so
But they
expensive.
don't use actual pulp. They use some
We'll
sort
get
of like
to it. I
extract
explain
of it, right?
We will get to it. I explain it.
Okay.
This is half my case. Please don't jump the gun. I had to pad this
With pulp.
with pulp. I had to put additive in this case. So someone had to pay. Castle President Michelle Murder,
Murder.
Myrter.
My favorite murder.
My favorite Michelle
She
Murder.
is my favorite murder.
Is scheduled to plead guilty this month to criminal charges. She faces up to a year in prison and a $100,000 fine
Holy shit.
For cheese fraud.
for cheese fraud.
For fromage
which
fraud.
I googled for my research, cheese fraud, and this is what I found.
Smart.
So let's talk about wood pulp.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds really scary, but it is extremely common. This NPR article I found on the subject titled From McDonald's to Organic Valley, You're Probably Eating Wood Pulp was a super fun read. But it's important to distinguish that while it started out as wood, it goes through a lot of processing to become edible and is far from wood by the time it gets to the cellulose stage. The cellulose is extracted from plants. So like really any plant contains cellulose. Somebody was saying you could, in one of these articles was like, oh, actually, we'll get to it. We'll get to that. So I'm not going to quote it because I quoted it later. So the cellulose is extracted from plants for the fiber to add texture and fiber to foods. Wood pulp is readily available because it's used for so many other things. And there's like a ton of wood waste, even in things like paper making. So extracting cellulose from it is a no-brainer and a lot more sustainable than really any other plant that you're going to get it from. Quote, the FDA long ago green-lighted the use of added cellulose in foodstuffs. And in our bodies, this cellulose passes right through our GI tracts, virtually unabsorbed.
Yeah, in like 35 years, we're going to discover that that's not true. But okay.
Well, to be fair,
I
they
mean-
did start doing this in the 60s, so it's already been a while that we've been eating it without adverse
Also add it
effects.
to the list of weird shit that we can, like gelatin.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
All sorts of shit.
It's bonkers.
I'm gonna
5G,
keep
you
eating
guys.
it. I'm just
5G.
saying.
Oh, yeah.
So food scientist John Copeland of Penn State says it doesn't matter much where the cellulose comes from. In theory, you could extract it from any plant, from asparagus to onions, but he says that would be a waste of good food. A good way to think about it is to ask, would our food be any better or worse if the cellulose used was sourced from another plant? And Copeland says the answer is no. Cellulose is just a molecule and probably one we want more of in our diets because it's fucking fiber. It's like, it's going to keep you from, you have cellulose and Metamucil. But like any other,
calling it wood pulp just makes
It's
it sound
inaccurate.
scary. It's just,
and it's not like wood chips. Like it doesn't
it's
look
not
anything
it's
like
not
wood.
mulch.
No.
So what you're saying to me is that the cheap Parmesan is actually better for me than the expensive Parmesan.
Totally. Yep. There it is.
Let's not make any
It's 100% better.
Got it.
statements about that, but
Too late. We made a statement.
no worse. It's no worse.
It's so much better. But like any other food additive, safe or otherwise, there are limits to how much is like allowed to be in a product, and how the product is labeled is extremely important. So in terms of how much is allowed to be in a product, like it's assumed that cheap cheese, like shredded cheese, is going to have this in it. But if there's like a fuck ton more cellulose than
Cheese.
or if the ratio is so off, like I think you can have a certain amount in there without having to list it as an ingredient on the packaging, and that there's a threshold for that. But then people are fucking all over the threshold and not labeling their product properly.
And also, if you're labeling the product 100% pure cheese.
Exactly, and that's where we get into the legality.
So are we going to talk about like American cheese, like Kraft, like grilled cheese, the yellow
Yeah, but they
squares?
call that cheese product.
Yeah,
That's like
so
in tiny
legally,
letters.
That's kind of why they
They're
have to
safe.
say that, because there's really not enough actual cheese ingredients to call
Exactly.
it that.
Like
Exactly.
the aerosolized cheese whiz.
Yeah, all of that is
It's not
listed as a
cheese.
cheese
It's
product.
whiz.
And
It's
probably
way more
just
whiz than
useless
cheese.
Most of that shit is like cellulose, some other weird additive, and then like what is it?
Coloring.
Coloring, and then like what is it? Nutritional yeast that a lot of vegans
Oh,
use
yeah.
as cheese because it really does taste like cheese. Like it has the flavor of cheese, and so you can fucking dump that in a cheese product, and it's gonna taste like cheese. So the daughter of the Castle Cheese Company CEO, Michelle Murder, who was like president of the company and oversees operations, is therefore hardly know her. Is therefore responsible for quality control and was charged with my new favorite criminal charge ever. Quote, aiding and abetting the introduction of adulterated and misbranded cheese products into interstate commerce in violation of provisions of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act.
That's what C stands for?
I guess.
Oh, no. The FDC?
FDA. They added cosmetic. Right?
FFDCA.
Yeah. Well, this is an act, like a legal act of
I got confused for a
regulation.
Oh, the Food and Drug Administration is not the same as
Oversees
this.
but this is an act of legislation for like making sure products are safe.
I like that there's a specific charge about misbranding cheese.
Fuck yeah. So like I said before, she faced a year in jail and $100,000 in fines. But the use of the pulp really wasn't the issue. It was the fact that the cheeses were being marketed as 100% real cheese or 100% of a certain type of cheese when it was not 100% of that type of cheese. So, quote, the FDA said the imitation cheeses made by a third family-owned but now defunct firm, Castle Cheese, were sold through a variety of discount retailers and grocers under various brand names in several states. Though the cheese wasn't unsafe to eat, the FDA and federal prosecutors in Pittsburgh contend customers were being cheated by paying more for expensive Italian cheese while getting cheaper varieties. Also, like, not to mention the fact that not listing exactly what the buyer is purchasing to consume is super fucked up because of people's like allergies and medical conditions.
Yeah.
So like you can't, I don't know. Like I was saying earlier when we were recording GAC, which I know hasn't come out yet, but it's like every time we do an episode, I get a new irrational fear. And now it's like, oh, okay, I can't eat any prepackaged foods, but I did Postmates myself. Wendy's today, so whatever. What am I going to do? So
we pick and choose.
Yeah. But I'm scared, but not that scared. So this is from inc.com or inc.com. I don't know. Murder didn't acknowledge knowing that was done illegally, but agreed to plead guilty as someone who, in her position, was legally responsible for the company's actions. Murder was a trustee with a family trust that gave her an indirect controlling ownership interest in both companies. So there was like under the Castle Cheese, there's like a couple packaging companies that she
So it doesn't sound like
overseas.
she's really involved in the day-to-day.
She's a president of the company. She's not at the fucking factories. It's just that like she's the one who's
She's
running
held
everything.
responsible.
So
The
she
buck
needs to be
stops
making
here.
sure there's quality control. She needs to be making sure things are getting labeled and are following FDA regulation. And she clearly didn't follow up on that. So now she's responsible. Not only was the product using cellulose filler, but the product sold at Target labeled as the Market Pantry 100% grated Parmesan
totally
cheese
bought that.
Yeah.
didn't contain a single bit of actual Parmesan. It was a blend of like fake Romano scrap and mozzarella scrap cut with cellulose and flavor additives to make it taste and feel like Parmesan. It didn't have any Parmesan in it.
They got you.
Well, they may not have gotten you because remember that this is one of many companies and many facilities that package this stuff under a certain company name, but then the packaging can be branded with like anybody's fucking stuff. So
I was saying you as in Kenyan.
No, I know. So I'm saying she might have bought Market Pantry Parmesan that wasn't packaged and made by one of these Castle facilities.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
she might have
So
gotten
it really
actual.
can, even though it's Target brand or whatever, it can be different.
Oh,
Come from different factories.
Frankly, a lot of those things have to be to keep up with the supply. Like you can't count on one factory to
Otherwise,
keep
Target
up with the
would
demand.
have their own factory.
Mhm.
Right.
And even then, I think so much would have to be outsourced from different facilities. And it's like, we just want it to follow these specs. Like, give us a product. And then all of these companies that are being like basically cheese subcontracted are trying to keep costs really low to like vie for these accounts and these contracts. And so like, of course, Target is going to be like, fuck yeah, Castle, you're offering me like a product that's flying off the shelves at dirt fucking cheap. Let's do it. It's
They
like,
really
JK, it's false.
cheesed their clients.
They did. Fortunately for us, Bloomberg News did the real hard-hitting investigation that we so desperately needed after an announcement such as this, and found out the level of cellulose filler in some of our most beloved prepackaged cheeses. They literally hired scientists at the Center for Dairy Research in Madison, Wisconsin to do some testing.
It's
All
all
of
chemical
Wisconsin-
analysis.
All of Wisconsin is just cheese.
It is.
Yeah.
They're testing
whole
their
thing.
soil. There's
They're
no
true
soil in
cheeseheads.
Wisconsin. Yeah. Dean Summer, cheese technologist, stated that acceptable levels of cellulose in cheese is between 2 and 4%. While more cellulose isn't harmful, it does start to noticeably decrease the taste and quality of the product, which when it goes much higher than that 2 to 4% threshold. Their research uncovered that, quote, essential everyday 100% grated Parmesan cheese from Jewel Osco was 8.8% cellulose, while Walmart Stores Inc.'s Great Value 100% grated Parmesan cheese registered 7.8%. Whole Foods 365 brand didn't list cellulose as an ingredient on the label, but still tested at 0.3%.
That's a small amount.
Yeah, exactly. And Kraft,
8.8% is kind of a lot.
that is a lot.
Yeah.
Kraft is within the acceptable threshold at 3.8%. So you're getting less pulp.
All right.
Kenyan's preferred brand.
Nailed it.
I'm so happy.
I know. I knew you'd be pleased with that result. Bloomberg then called out all of these companies, some of which responded, like Kraft, whose spokesperson stated that, quote, we remain committed to the quality of our products, which means like absolutely fucking nothing at all. And I think they list cellulose as an ingredient. So they're like, fuck off. We don't care. But they just wanted
I'll
to
go
make
check. I'll go take a picture of my Kraft
Do it.
Parmesan and put it on
put
the
it on the
drive.
drive. We don't have a lot of pics.
I have Parmesan in my fridge too. I'll take a pic.
Check it out. And Walmart, who first questioned the reliability of the testing, but then committed to looking into the findings, which like, yeah, right. I've written that email before. We'll look into it.
Look into your findings.
Others simply denied the accusations like Whole Foods. And the big bummer of all of this is that it's really not a big priority for the FDA, which is, and rightfully so, primarily focused on food safety and foodborne illness issues, which is like actually the bigger reason why so much stuff is like traceable on the packaging, because stuff like listeria, which we'll get to, things like this can break out in a specific facility, and they need to fucking know what facility that is so they can shut that shit down.
Yeah.
Like extra cellulose in your cheese isn't going to make you sick.
Right.
But
Right.
like fucking
That's a personal
salmonella.
preference.
The FDA has such a massive purview, and they're so underfunded. Like, they have bigger fish to literally fry.
Yeah. So this means the fact that like FDA doesn't really care that much about the labeling stuff means companies have little incentive to follow labeling guidelines, since more often than not, the misrepresentations go completely unnoticed and unreported. When it's stuff like you said it was this kind of cheese, but it's actually an imitation kind of cheese.
When there's 0%
Parmesan.
of...
Yeah.
Like if it's not like an allergen concern,
Exactly.
It's
Then
just a personal preference concern. Like,
Yeah.
no, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine. So the Bloomberg investigative team spoke with Neil Schumann of the Fairfield, New Jersey-based company Arthur Schumann Incorporated, which is the biggest seller of hard Italian cheeses in the United States, cornering 33% of the domestic market. This one company, that's like wild to me. He estimates that 20% of U.S. production worth $375 million in sales is mislabeled.
Wow.
In terms of cheese. Quote, the tipping point was grated cheese, where less than 40% of the product was actually a cheese product. So it's like mostly additive, Schumann said. Consumers are innocent and they're not getting what they bargained for, and that's just wrong. So he's like, fuck that. People are paying a buttload of money for Parmesan and Romano cheese.
Some of those little things are expensive. Even the big craft things, how much are they? They're like $8.
Yeah, for like a big one.
That's a lot of money.
The normal size ones are like $3.50 or something. Yeah, they're not cheap.
So if it's probably better if you just have a grater and buy block cheese. It'll be fresher and it'll probably be closer to what you thought you were buying.
Honestly,
but ain't nobody got time for that. But yes.
But like that is, honestly, if you want to make sure you're getting actual Parmesan, that's the way to do it. Like to go to your, even if you can get to like your local co-op where it's like, at least I can figure out, I can see what the farm that this fucking came from. You know, like that's a lot of work when you can just get fucking Parmesan in a green tube at Target. But this case did come out.
Literally lasts forever in your fridge.
If you buy
it has
a
no
wheel
expiration
or a
date.
wedge of Parmesan, you can use that rind for like a bunch of different cooking
Oh, you can make
purposes.
broths
Like,
with it. Fucking yum.
Yeah.
Parmesan rind broth is amazing.
The Parmesan rinds are pretty invaluable.
So fucking good. So this case did come about during a surge of federal prosecutions on, quote, adulterated foods. This is from Food Safety News. Those cases include brothers Eric Jensen and Ryan Jensen, whose cantaloupe caused a deadly listeria outbreak in 2011, and brothers Stuart Parnell and Michael Parnell, whose salmonella-contaminated peanut butter products killed at least 9 people and sickened thousands of people between 2008 and 2009.
Oh my God.
So it's shit like that. That's why things are so, like the tracking, like the labeling, they're like, man, whatever. But we need to know what fucking facility this shit is coming from because of this kind of shit.
Shut it down.
Exactly. Yeah. Quote, the Department of Justice prosecutes people and companies who introduce adulterated or misbranded food into interstate commerce. U.S. Attorney David Hickton said in a news release about the criminal cheese charges. In this case, the fraud was perpetrated, that's the word, on consumers who purchased Parmesan and Romano cheeses that were inferior to what they believed they were buying. Cheese may have had listeria as well as wood pulp, although the Pennsylvania cheese cases did not cite food safety issues. Inspectors with the Food and Drug Administration found listeria problems at the production facilities of this Castle cheese place, according to a July 2013 warning letter that also referenced the imitation cheese product. So, like, that's the other reason why I'm like, bitch, you're guilty, because you've been warned and you had like a pop-up inspection in 2012 and then you were warned in 2013. being like,
Yeah.
They were onto you.
not only are we on to you about your bogus ass cheese, but also listeria.
This was not a surprise.
No.
It certainly wasn't a surprise to her.
No, she
It
fucking knew.
could have easily been stopped
It's an inside
well ahead
job.
of time.
1,000%.
I heard that like something crazy, like more than 90% of like fish that's in restaurants and even some grocery stores is mislabeled.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like
Yeah.
all like they just lie about types of fish and just substitute it with like tilapia and whatever, which is why
It's
like
nuts.
I'm only allergic to certain types of fish, but I just like
Avoid
stopped
it.
eating fish
Yeah,
altogether.
how do you know that it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a dyed whitefish to look like?
Right. Salmon.
Pork bung.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Water just went down the wrong pipe thinking about dyed fish and pork bung.
Flush it out
Oh
with
my God.
Parm.
Oh, I could. So, we note, this is from the FDA, that on November 11th, 2012, our investigators reviewed records for your environmental listeria monitoring tests from March 22nd, 2012 through November 9th, 2012. These records show positive listeria test results. So this is what's in that warning. Your firm did not perform speciation testing as a follow-up to these results to determine if Listeria monocytogenes was present in your facility. Further, from March 22nd, 2012 to November 9th, 2012, your firm continued to manufacture imitation and real cheese products in the area where Listeria was detected.
That's fucked up.
Super fucked up. So again, stuff hasn't been linked back to this in terms of like foodborne illness, but
Could have done.
it could have.
Yeah.
And just because it's not reported, like, especially when it's something you bought prepackaged to eat at home, if I'm all of a sudden not feeling well, like, I don't know if I would know right away that that was from the like brand new thing of cheese that I just opened.
It
or
wouldn't be my first guess.
It
No,
wouldn't.
your first guess would probably be like last time you ate out.
Exactly. Or
or
like,
last
did I
time
eat
you ate
fish?
meat, or or even like some produce, you know,
Yeah.
because you can get
Yeah,
like
your
listeria
lettuce.
from lettuce. Yeah, exactly.
I feel
Your
like people,
packaged cheese would be the last
I
thing that I
agree.
would
I
think
feel like
of.
people are so much quicker to be like, oh, I got food poisoning because I went to fucking White Castle or whatever,
Yeah.
than like, oh, I made myself a baked potato and I put a little bit of this like brand new bag of prepackaged cheese
Like
on it. I would never.
Fresh produce would be
Mhm.
eating out fresh produce. Anything
I've gotten
else.
sick. I've gotten sick from making a vegetable soup with fresh produce that I didn't wash properly,
Yeah.
and I had to report. I like reported it to that grocery store, and I had to report it to like the Minnesota State blah blah blah, like food blah blah blah. I don't even remember. Foodborne
I
illness.
bit into
something
like
or
a
other.
live caterpillar once when we like had a CSA for a while and
That's how
had
you know
like
it's good.
lettuces
That's how you
and
know it's
whatever.
fresh.
And then Zach did not properly wash the lettuces.
I don't think you can report anything about a CSA grown anything.
Probably
but-
No,
not.
it was.
But I'd rather
it
have-
was entirely our own fault. But it was just like so
I'd rather
fucking
eat a
gross.
bug than shit myself to death for a
Yeah.
day and a half. But whatever.
True.
So this continues to say your responses state that no undesirable microorganisms have ever been detected in your products, and the FDA is like, I don't know how that's possible, but it was in your facility, so figure it out.
Right.
FDA questions this assertion since your firm does not conduct or did not conduct any finished product microbiological testing.
Yeah,
So
it's
like,
hard to detect anything if you're not testing for it.
COVID will go away if we just stop testing. So as for Michelle, the listeria accusations never stuck, and she pled guilty and was sentenced in federal court to 3 years probation, a $5,000 fine, and 200 hours of community service on her conviction of one misdemeanor count of aiding and abetting the introduction of adulterated and misbranded cheese products into the interstate commerce. An additional conspiracy charge was dropped. So like they had also charged her with a conspiracy, thinking that she was like in on all of this the whole time. But I don't, even though now going over this case again, I think she fucking was, especially with that like listeria shit.
But she played dumb enough.
But
in
she played
court
dumb enough.
that it
I don't
was
think
dropped.
anybody could prove it. I don't think that they had enough receipts to be like, yeah, this won't hold up, so we're going to drop it.
That's corporate America.
Yep. So the companies that actually did the physical mislabeling, so there were like 2 companies that she, as the president of Castle Cheese, oversaw that like labeled and packaged and distributed their products. And these were International Packing and Universal Cheese and Drying. Both of these companies are based in the were based in the western Pennsylvania village of Slippery Rock. And they have ceased operations, and they agreed to forfeit $500,000 each.
So the labeling companies got hit hard.
In like fines to the federal government. And, Castle Cheese Co. is now not a thing anymore. Semi-hard cheese.
Fresh and soft.
But not only did Castle Cheese Co. go down a few years later, because I'm sure with like both of their fucking packaging facilities that they work with the most being gone now, it's like, how do we're already not the biggest fucking cheese operation in the country. This isn't looking good. I think they just kind of
It probably hit their whole operation fairly hard. Even
I would
though
imagine.
These numbers don't seem that big. They're like smallish
Universal
companies.
Cheese and Drying.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that right there is my case.
Well,
Nice
I
job.
don't know how to feel.
I don't either. I'm still gonna eat the fucking Parmesan. I don't care. I don't care about eating cellulose or fake Parm. I just want to know so that like
You ever eaten a hot dog? You'll be fine.
I most prepackaged foods is not 100% what it claims to be. I'm not like living in a fucking delusion.
Clean eating bubble.
Yeah.
But people, it's the allergy thing for me and like medications and stuff like that. Like that's fucked
fucking,
up.
it's serious. We should know.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of instances where we do not know what we're putting in our bodies. And for all the fucking anti-vaxxer insane people, like literally if you've ever had a packet of Kraft macaroni and cheese or a hot dog or like literally any packaged food. You don't know any of the shit that's in your food, in your makeup, in your cleaning products, in your house, whatever. And now you suddenly care about this one thing? What the
like
fuck?
super racist anti-vaxxers who are like chain smoking Pall Malls while saying they don't want to put this thing in their body. Eating fucking ivermectin or whatever that actually has a tracker in it so you know where in the horse it is before it gets pooped out.
Unless you are like an Amish, vegan, organic, whatever from
Off
birth.
the grid.
Yeah.
Librarian from birth. You have no room.
Ridiculous. All right. Well, good job.
I loved this episode.
Good
What a
job.
wild
This was
time.
a good Gouda episode.
It was a good episode for sure.
So thank you to our fan picker. Scrolling to the top, Jenna Murdoch.
Thank
Oh,
you,
that's
Jenna.
right.
Again, Italian cheeses, but only when they're real.
Read
The
your
good
labels,
stuff.
but also who cares? They're lying to you anyway.
All
right.
right. Thanks for
Talk to you
listening.
next
and
week.
See you later.
Bye-bye.